Okay, I know I said June was going to be for Bethesda, but I wanted to take a Friday to sort of put some hopes and dreams out there into the universe. Hello crows and non-crows alike, my name is Joe Mack, otherwise known as Support Crow, and today I'm giving you 5 franchises that deserve a single-player RPG. Now when I say RPG, that obviously means role-play game. However, what kind of RPG are we talking about here? Well, if you're subscribed to the channel, you could probably take an educated guess. If you're new here, then allow me to illuminate my preferences. Gaming preferences, that is. When I look for an RPG to play, I'm looking for a single-player, create-a-character RPG with choice and consequence. So any style of RPG within the holy trinity of Baldur's Gate, Skyrim, and Mass Effect is what I'm hoping for here. Also, I want to make it clear that this is just for fun. I'm not saying anything should be replaced. I'm not saying any studio should just drop what they're doing and work on a single-player game instead. We're just having a good time with some fun ideas, that's all. Okay, with that established, let's jump into it. Number 1, Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings has gotten the video game treatment before. Return of the King being the classic, followed by Conquest, and has since welcomed new additions like Return to Moria and Tales of the Shire. The most well-known games being the LEGO games, The Shadow of Mordor and its sequel, Shadow of War, which featured the fantastic Nemesis system, which we will likely never see again. Rest in peace, Monolith, we miss you. However, outside of the Lord of the Rings MMO, it hasn't truly embraced an RPG. There was the War in the North game, but every RPG element felt like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. You could choose your playstyle, but you're locked to a certain character. You could choose different dialogue options, but none of those options ever really made a difference. I want a chance to live out in the Middle Earth and fight orcs and goblins the way I wish to choose. Its setting is prime RPG real estate, especially considering that it's the grandfather setting for all modern-day fantasy. You could choose to be an elf from Rivendell, or a dwarf from the Blue Mountains. You could be a ranger from Rohan, or a soldier from Gondor. Perhaps you could even be a mysterious hermit living out in the woods. Or you could find a cozy hole in the ground as a hobbit. Allowing players to be the character they want to be in Middle-earth is an untapped goldmine in the single-player audience, in my opinion. Warner Brothers or Amazon or whoever has the rights now just needs to grab the pickaxe. Just, don't dig too deeply. Number 2, World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft celebrated its 20th anniversary last November, and I believe that it would be a massive, beautiful, enticing world to explore without all the bunny hopping. Now, you have the races, you have the classes, you have the factions, and all these different regions to explore. If a studio made a single-player game in the style of Baldur's Gate 3, but with the setting of Azeroth, I throw my whole damn life savings at it. Number 3, Star Wars. Now, I know we have Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, and while those games certainly have their charm, they are a little dated. I also know that a remake is supposedly on the way, and I look forward to it, but I'm surprised there isn't more single-player RPGs within this franchise already. We had the Battlefronts, the Force Unleashed, the Jedi games, Outlaws, and even Eclipse is starting to stir around and make a little noise. There's also the single-player turn-based action-adventure game Zero Company, but I'm still waiting on more information about that one. Electronic Arts keeps missing the mark with me when it comes to their Star Wars games. I'm not saying those games aren't fun, I'm just not the target audience. Side note, rest in peace to the Star Wars games EA cancelled along the way. Maybe, just maybe, given Bethesda's success with Indiana Jones, maybe, we'll get a Starfield-style game set in a galaxy far, far away. But please, less loading screens this time. But just imagine creating your own character, gathering your own crew, and flying off in your own ship to tackle a galaxy full of adventure, intrigue, and stormtroopers that can't shoot a target to save their lives. Be a bounty-hunting Mandalorian, a clever, credit-snatching pirate, or perhaps a ruthless Sith Lord, going where you want, doing what you want, one parsec at a time. Number 4, Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, speaking of ships and setting off into the great unknown, how about Pirates of the Caribbean? Yes, finally, a franchise that has no massive multiplayer online game to speak of. Oh, come on, seriously? Alright, fine, there's an MMO for this franchise also, but the game did shut down in 2013, so perhaps there's some would-be pirates out there that would love a chance to set sail again. In Pirates Online, instead of having classes, your pirate had a selection of skills they could upgrade. These skills included sailing, fishing, sword fighting, guns, grenades, gambling, and even voodoo. I wouldn't mind seeing a Mass Effect style of game with this franchise. Claim your ship, your crew, and set off on a high-stakes seafaring adventure. And last but not least, Final Fantasy XIV. Alright, you probably have figured out by now that I'm really just taking MMOs and turning them into single-player games. But honestly, why not? These are games enjoyed by multiplayers by the thousands daily and the millions across their lifespan. It stands to reason that there could be a very considerable market in the single-player audience, if given the chance. And I think Eorzea would be a prime example of that. Although I might be a little biased because Final Fantasy XIV is my favorite MMO on the list. It has multiple races, it has a variety of unique classes to enjoy, and has different jobs that allow you to craft unique items. Shout out to my Elezen White Mage culinarians out there. Remember to always commend your local support class. Now, while I enjoy all that in the MMO sense, I keep having this reoccurring daydream of what a single player create a character RPG with choices and consequences set in Eorzea would look like. You know, if I could shop in the markets of Ul'dah, harvest around Gridania, explore the vineyards of Limsa Lominsa, and protect Ishgard from dragons, but through the lenses of the enhanced detail and immersion that is expected from single-player RPGs, I don't think I'd ever leave. Tell you what, since you made it this far, I'll give you one more franchise. A franchise that didn't have such a great beginning and only lasted a couple of years. I'm talking about Anthem, the online multiplayer action role-playing game developed by BioWare and published by Electronic Arts. A game that was met with much controversy and development turmoil, and was ultimately abandoned by BioWare so they could focus on Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Say what you want about EA, say what you want about BioWare. I believe Anthem is a great intellectual property that should be given a second chance as a single-player RPG in the same vein as Mass Effect or Dragon Age. I actually enjoyed the gameplay and the traversal of the game. I loved flying in my Storm Javelin. Hell, Electronic Arts loved flying so much they told BioWare to put it back into the game after it was originally scrapped. I want to experience this game again, but in the way most BioWare fans were expecting it to be. Anthem once released a trailer detailing its "Our world, my story" innovative storytelling, and that turned out to be all lies essentially. Give us an Anthem game that fulfills that promise. However, a studio other than BioWare should handle it. BioWare has some therapy and some couples counseling with EA to go through right now. Giving it another project outside of Mass Effect 5 probably isn't the best idea at the moment. I hope you enjoyed the video and thank you for watching. We'll be jumping into some Bethesda/Elder Scrolls topics for the rest of the month, so be sure to stick around for that. Until then though, be safe, be well, be kind, bye bye.